My fiancée couldn't stop bragging to her friends about how she'd trapped a rich simp, like me, for a lifetime of luxury. So at our engagement party, I secretly played her own recorded confession over the venue speakers, and what happened next left every guest utterly speechless. I'm a 31-year-old guy, and I met Emily, who's 29, on a dating app a couple years back. Her profile stood out. She came off as smart, funny, and like someone who really had her life together. She worked as a marketing consultant and said she loved hiking, photography, and cooking. I honestly wondered if she might be too good to be true, but I figured it was worth a shot. Our first date was at this little Italian restaurant I'd been wanting to try. It wasn't fancy, just a warm, cozy place with great food. When she walked in, I was stunned. She had this relaxed confidence about her that immediately put me at ease. We talked about everything: work, family, even silly stuff like whether pineapple belongs on pizza. She's firmly against it, by the way. She told me her dad was a school teacher and her mom owned a bakery. She grew up in a middle-class household and talked about how her parents never handed her anything, how she had to earn everything. That stuck with me. She really seemed like someone who worked hard and didn't believe in shortcuts. In the beginning, her lifestyle totally matched what she said. We go to casual spots, split the bill sometimes, and she never acted like she expected expensive gifts. She loved little surprises, flowers, or a simple picnic in the park. It felt easy, genuine, like we were aligned on what mattered. About a year into dating, I decided to propose. I've never been the over-the-top romantic type, but I wanted to make it special. We went on a weekend trip to this vineyard, and I popped the question at sunset as we walked through the vines. She teared up and said yes. For a while, I really thought I'd found the one. But looking back, I think that's when things slowly started shifting. At first, it was small stuff. She started talking about wanting to upgrade her wardrobe or dreaming about these luxury vacations. I figured that was normal. After all, getting engaged is exciting, right? People start thinking about the future. Then one day, she brought up her car. She had a nice sedan, nothing wrong with it. But she showed me pictures of luxury SUVs and said, "Don't you think it's time we upgraded?" I kind of laughed and said, "What's wrong with your car? You love that thing." She shrugged and replied, "Yeah, but now that we're engaged, it feels like the right time to step up. We should think about what fits our new life." I didn't know what to say. It felt like a strange leap, but I brushed it off as her being excited about starting a new chapter. Then came the dress. One night, she came home with shopping bags from a fancy boutique. She spun around, showing off a designer dress she'd bought for our engagement party. "Isn't it gorgeous?" she asked. "It's beautiful," I said, and I meant it. "But isn't it kind of expensive?" She waved me off, laughing. "Jake, it's a special occasion. You only get engaged once, right?" I didn't press it. She looked so happy. I didn't want to be the one to ruin her moment. But it kept adding up. She started talking more and more about luxury brands she wanted to own. She'd point out how some of her friends had leveled up after getting married. Bigger homes, better cars. It felt like she was trying to turn our engagement into some kind of lifestyle upgrade. At first, I didn't mind. I've always worked hard and tried to enjoy life. If she wanted some nice things, I figured I could make that happen. But there were moments that just felt off. Like the time we passed a jewelry store and she stopped to look at a diamond bracelet. "That would look amazing on me," she said, half joking. "Yeah, it's beautiful," I replied, thinking we were just browsing. Then she looked at me and said, "Maybe for our 1-year anniversary or a wedding gift." She laughed, but it didn't sound like a joke. It felt like she was testing me. Of course, I wanted her to be happy. But something in my gut told me this wasn't about us anymore. It was about an image, her vision of what our life should look like. The more I thought about it, the more I realized she wasn't the same woman I'd met 2 years ago. Back then, she loved movie nights at home and surprise date nights at little hole-in-the-wall restaurants. Now it seemed like she was chasing some kind of shiny dream. I told myself it was just wedding stress, that people get carried away when they're planning for the future. But deep down, I knew this wasn't just a phase. What I didn't realize was that all the luxury talk, that was just the surface. The truth about Emily hit me like a freight train, and I never saw it coming. It was a random Tuesday. I'd finished work early because a meeting got canceled, so I thought I'd surprise Emily with dinner. I picked up her favorite Thai food and headed home. The apartment was quiet when I got in, except for the faint sound of her voice coming from our bedroom. I assumed she was on a call and didn't want to interrupt, so I quietly set the takeout on the kitchen counter. That's when I heard her say my name. At first, I thought she was talking about wedding stuff, but then she laughed. Not her usual laugh. It was smug, almost mean. Something in me froze. I stayed still, just outside the bedroom door, listening. "Jake is such a rich sucker," she said, and I felt my whole body go numb. She said it like it was a joke, like she was proud of it. "I've totally trapped him," she went on, her voice full of arrogance. "All I have to do is smile and act sweet, and he just does whatever I want. He doesn't even question it." My heart was racing. "I mean, he's nice and all," she added, "but come on, this isn't about love. This is about securing my future. Jake's my golden ticket." I couldn't believe it. The woman I thought I was going to spend my life with was bragging about using me. She kept going. And once we're married, I'm quitting my job. Why would I keep working when he makes enough for both of us? I've already started dropping hints. He's too soft to push back, or I'll just make him think it's his idea. Her friends laughed in the background. He's not even my type, she added casually. But who cares? He's rich, he's easy, and he'll give me whatever I want. Once the ring's on, it's game over. He'll be funding my spa days and designer wardrobe while I stay home and find myself. I felt like I was going to throw up. I should have walked away, but I couldn't move. I just stood there, trying to make sense of it all. My chest was tight, and my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Then she said, "Did you see the ring? He dropped a fortune on it. That's how I know he's locked in. Even if he gets cold feet, I'll guilt trip him so hard he won't even know what hit him." Her friends burst out laughing again. "You're a genius," one of them said. "I know," Emily replied. "The best part? I barely even have to try. Jake is just so desperate to please me. He'll never catch on." I backed away from the door, my head spinning. I went to the living room and sat on the couch, staring at nothing. My whole world had just flipped upside down. This wasn't just about money. This wasn't stress. This was who she really was. I realized I'd left the food out on the counter, so I got up and put it in the fridge. My movements felt robotic, like I wasn't even in my own body. All I could hear was her voice, laughing, mocking me, calling me her golden ticket. I knew I couldn't confront her without evidence. She'd deny it, twist it around, maybe even make me feel guilty just for overhearing. So I quietly took out my phone and recorded a short clip of her conversation. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it yet, but I knew I needed to have it. The rest of that evening was a blur. I went into our shared office and pretended to work, though my mind was spiraling. At some point, Emily came out of the bedroom, smiling like everything was perfect, and asked if I wanted to watch a movie. I forced a smile. "Maybe later," I said. "I've got a few things to finish up." "Okay," she said, leaning down to kiss my cheek. "Love you." Those words felt empty now. "Love you too," I said automatically, though I didn't feel it anymore. The woman I thought I loved wasn't real. Emily had revealed who she really was, and now it was just a matter of time before I did something about it. After that night, I couldn't unhear what I'd heard. Every moment with her felt fake, like I was watching someone act in a play. But I kept up the act too, pretending like nothing had changed. I wasn't ready to call her out yet. I needed to see how far she'd go. The first red flag came when she got even more obsessed with wedding planning. Don't get me wrong, I understood weddings were important. I wanted ours to be special too. But Emily wasn't planning a wedding. She was staging a spectacle. One night, she sat me down at the kitchen table with a stack of bridal magazines and a notebook full of notes. "Okay," she said, practically glowing. "I've narrowed it down. I think we should go with the St. Regis Ballroom." I looked at the page she marked. The pictures were stunning, but my eyes immediately went to the price. "Emily, this is 3 times what we agreed on," I said, trying to stay calm. She brushed it off like it was nothing. "Jake, it's our wedding. You only get one. Don't you want it to be unforgettable?" "It's definitely unforgettable," I mumbled under my breath. She didn't hear me. She launched into this big speech about why the ballroom was perfect. Chandeliers from Italy, a grand staircase, room for 300 guests. "Think of the photos," she said, flipping pages of floral arrangements and lighting setups. "This is the kind of wedding people talk about for years." I nodded, letting her talk, but inside I was frustrated. This wasn't about us. It was about her putting on a show. And it didn't stop there. She wanted imported flowers for the centerpieces. Apparently local roses weren't classy enough. She insisted on a 10-tier cake from some famous New York bakery. When I suggested we get something local, she looked at me like I'd suggested serving gas station cupcakes. "Jake, we can't cheap out on the cake. Everyone remembers the cake," she said, like it was some universal truth. "Do they, though?" I asked. "I can't remember a single cake from any wedding I've ever been to." She rolled her eyes. "That's because you're a guy. Trust me, people notice." Then came a dress. I knew wedding dresses could be pricey, but Emily took it to another level. She found a designer who made custom gowns, and the sketches were beautiful. I'll admit that. But the price? $25,000. "Emily, are you serious?" I asked. "This is the most important day of my life," she said, like that was supposed to make it okay. "And besides, we can afford it." I bit my tongue. She was throwing my money around like it came from a Monopoly set. The final straw was the honeymoon. One night, she cozied up next to me with her laptop. "I've been looking at honeymoon spots," she said, grinning. "Okay," I said, already bracing myself. "There's this private villa in Bora Bora," she went on, spinning the laptop toward me. The pictures were breathtaking. White sands, crystal blue water, luxury, everything. "It's $30,000 for the week, but totally worth it. Just look." I waited for her to laugh. She didn't. "Emily, that's a lot," I said finally. "It's a once-in-a-lifetime trip," she said, like that explained everything. "Come on, Jake, you can afford it. It's our honeymoon. It should be special." She said special like it meant spend recklessly. "Do we really need a private villa?" I asked. "We could still go somewhere beautiful without going overboard." She let out a dramatic sigh. "Jake, this is about memories. Don't you want to start our marriage with something unforgettable? What I really wanted was a partner, not someone who saw me as a human ATM. But it didn't end there. Emily started hinting she wanted to upgrade her engagement ring. I saw this stunning new setting, she said while scrolling on her phone. It would really make the diamond pop. The diamond's already massive, I said, trying not to sound annoyed. She shrugged. It could look a little more refined. My patience was running out. That ring had cost a fortune. When I proposed, she screamed with joy. Now, suddenly, it wasn't good enough. Then came the bachelorette party. Emily decided she and her friend were going to Vegas for the weekend. She booked a suite at a luxury hotel and made reservations at some of the most expensive restaurants. When she showed me the itinerary, I couldn't hide my reaction. Emily, this is going to cost thousands, I said. So? She replied like it was nothing. It's my last weekend as a single woman. It's tradition. Who's paying for this? I asked, though I already knew. She gave me a look like I was being ridiculous. You're the groom. It's kind of your job to cover this stuff. That's when it hit me. She didn't see me as her partner. She saw me as the sponsor for her dream lifestyle. It wasn't just the wedding or the party or the trip. It was everything. Emily didn't ask for things. She expected them. And anytime I tried to set a boundary, she flipped it on me and made me feel like I was the problem. By the time we got to the guest list, I'd mentally checked out. She wanted to invite everyone. People she barely knew, old coworkers, distant cousins, friends of friends, just to fill out the ballroom. It's all about the vibe, she said, scribbling names down. We need at least 200 people for it to feel right. What happened to keeping it small and personal? I asked. That was before I saw how perfect the ballroom is, she said. At that point, I stopped arguing. She was going to do whatever she wanted, and I was just expected to foot the bill. But what she didn't know was that I wasn't going to let her keep getting away with it. The barbecue was her idea. She thought it would be a great way to bring everyone together, our families, our friends, to celebrate the engagement. Just a small get-together, she said, flipping through her planner. I agreed, but not because I wanted to celebrate. I saw it as my chance. My opportunity to finally show everyone the truth. I was done pretending. I couldn't sit back and let her keep up this act while laughing behind my back. The barbecue wasn't going to be a celebration. It was going to be the day I exposed her for who she really was. That morning, Emily was in full host mode. She barked orders while fluttering around the house. Jake, can you line up the patio chairs neatly? And don't forget to stock the cooler with sparkling water and sodas. Oh, and did you get the extra skewers? I held my tongue and went along with it. Emily was acting like we were hosting a black tie gala instead of a laid-back backyard barbecue. She showed up in a sundress straight off a fashion runway. Matching sandals, hair perfectly styled. Like this was her big debut. Once guests started arriving, it was like someone flipped a switch. Emily turned on the charm, full blast. She welcomed everyone with a glowing smile, hugged her friends like it had been years, and kept the compliments rolling like she was on autopilot. Oh my gosh, Lisa, your dress is stunning. Where did you get it? You look amazing. I had to admit, she was good. She played the role of the perfect fiancée so well, even I almost believed it. So I stuck to the grill, flipping burgers and hot dogs, letting her soak up all the spotlight. This was her stage, and she was putting on a show. Laughing, chatting, floating around like she was starring in her own reality series. At one point, she gathered her girlfriends to show off photos of wedding dresses on her phone. This one's my favorite, she gushed, holding up a picture of a gown that probably cost more than my first car. It's custom, of course. You can't find something like this off the rack. Her friends zoot, and not like she was royalty. You're going to look like a princess, one said. I know, right? Emily beamed. Jake's been so amazing about letting me have whatever I want. He knows how much this means to me. I clenched my jaw and flipped another burger, biting down my frustration. Later, when we sat down to eat, her dad turned to her. So how many people are you two inviting? He asked, cutting into his steak. We're aiming for around 250. Emily replied like it was nothing. Her dad raised an eyebrow. That's a lot of people. Emily shrugged. It's the St. Regis ballroom, Dad. We have to fill the space. Then he looked at me. Jake, how are you feeling about all this? I forced a smile. It's a big wedding, but Emily's really passionate about it. He nodded slowly, clearly sensing something was off, but he let it go. As the night wore on, Emily got bolder. She started talking about the honeymoon, Bora Bora, private villas, the works. It's going to be magical, she said, practically glowing. Jake is making all my dreams come true. Her parents looked at me with admiration. They really believed she'd found her perfect match. For a second, I felt guilty. Almost. When dessert rolled around, I knew it was time. Everyone was sitting around the fire pit, laughing and talking, Emily holding court like the queen of the evening. I stood up and cleared my throat. Hey everyone, I said. Before we get to dessert, I'd like to say something real quick. All eyes turned to me. Emily's smile widened, expecting some romantic speech. I've been thinking a lot about our future. I began, my voice steady. And I realized there's something important I need to share. Emily tilted her head, confused. I pulled out my phone. Recently, I overheard a conversation that changed everything for me. I think it's only fair you all hear it too. I hit play. Emily's voice came through loud and clear, mocking me, calling me a rich idiot, laughing about how she was trapping me, how she didn't love me, how she planned to quit her job after the wedding and live off my money. The group went silent. Her dad's face turned red. "Emily, is this true?" he asked sharply. "It's out of context," she stammered, panicking. "Jake, how could you invade my privacy like that?" "Privacy?" I said, calm but firm. "You were laughing about scamming me. I have every right to protect myself." Her mom covered her mouth, tears forming in her eyes. "Emily, how could you?" Her friend sat in stunned silence, too shocked to speak. I looked directly at her. "I trusted you. I thought we were building something real. But this was never about love for you. It was about money." Emily shot up from her seat, furious and humiliated. "Jake, you're blowing this way out of proportion." "No, I'm not," I said. "This engagement is over, and I'll be taking back the ring. You don't deserve it." She yanked the ring off and threw it at me. "Fine, take your stupid ring." I caught it and slipped it into my pocket without a word. Emily looked around, desperate for support, but no one moved. "Jake, please," she said, her voice cracking. "We can fix this. I was just joking with my friends. I didn't mean any of it." I shook my head. "You meant every word. We're done." And with that, I walked away, leaving her to deal with the wreckage she created. After the barbecue, Emily's carefully curated image crumbled. The perfect fiancée, the golden daughter, all of it fell apart in one night. I didn't stick around to see it happen, but the updates came quickly. The first I heard was that her parents were furious. Her dad, usually calm, was livid. "You've humiliated us," he told her, according to a friend who was there. "Who treats someone like that and laughs about it with their friends? Do you even realize what you've done?" Her mom wasn't any softer. "We didn't raise you to be manipulative," she said, crying. Emily, of course, tried to spin it. It was just a joke. Jake overreacted, but no one was buying it. A few days later, I got a text from Mark, my best friend who'd been at the barbecue. "Dude, Emily's parents kicked her out," he wrote. I blinked at the screen, surprised but not shocked. "What happened?" I replied. "She stayed at their place after the barbecue," he said. "She kept blaming you, calling you controlling, saying you blew things out of proportion. Her dad wasn't having it, told her to pack up and leave." I couldn't help but feel a little satisfied. Finally, someone was holding her accountable. Mark added, "She's been calling around, trying to find a place to stay. But most people are distancing themselves. No one wants to deal with her drama." That was the thing with Emily. She built her life around a fake persona, and once the mask slipped, there was nothing underneath. Even her closest friends had grown tired of the constant self-centeredness. Even her parents, who'd stood by her for everything, were done. About a week later, I got a message from Lisa, one of her friends. "Hey Jake," she wrote. "I'm really sorry about what happened. I had no idea Emily was doing that to you. I wasn't sure what to say, so I kept it simple. Thanks, Lisa. It's been a lot to process, but I'm doing okay." She replied almost instantly. I've cut ties with her. After hearing that recording, I just couldn't look at her the same way. "I'm really sorry you had to go through that. It was nice to see someone finally taking a stand. But it also reminded me just how many people Emily had fooled, how many had no clue what was really going on." And then came the calls. About a week after the barbecue, Emily started blowing up my phone. At first, I ignored her. What was there to say? But she kept going, voicemails, texts, even DMs on social media. "Jake, please call me," one voicemail said. "I know I messed up, but we can fix this. I love you. Don't throw everything away over one mistake." One mistake. The fact that she still called it that, the audacity, it made my blood boil. A few days later, another message came in. "I'm sorry." Okay, I was venting to my friends. Everyone does it. You didn't have to humiliate me in front of everyone. Let's just talk. The more she called, the more desperate she sounded. Her texts went from apologetic to angry, then just plain pathetic. "You ruined my life," one of them read. "Do you know how many people are judging me because of you? I was joking, and you made it look like I'm some monster. I hope you're happy." For someone who claimed she loved me, she sure had a messed up way of showing it. After 2 straight weeks of nonstop texts and calls, I finally blocked her. I didn't owe her another second of my time or energy. Then, about a month later, I got an email from one of her former coworkers. "Hey Jake," it began. "I don't know if you remember me, but I used to work with Emily. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for what you went through. I've heard bits and pieces from mutual friends, and honestly, I'm not shocked. She was always difficult at work. I hope you're doing all right." That message stuck with me. It confirmed what I already suspected. Emily had a pattern. She'd use people until they weren't useful anymore. I was just her biggest target. The final straw came when she showed up at my office. It was a quiet afternoon. I was catching up on emails when the receptionist buzzed my desk. "Jake, there's a woman here to see you," she said. "She says her name is Emily." I sighed and rubbed my forehead. "Tell her I'm not available." A few minutes later, I heard a commotion in the lobby. Emily wasn't taking no for an answer. I walked out and found her standing by the front desk, red-faced and teary-eyed. "Jake," she said the moment she saw me. "Please, just hear me out." I crossed my arms. "What do you want, Emily?" I'm sorry," she said, her voice cracking. "I love you. Please, can we fix this?" I looked at her, searching for a feeling, anger, sadness, anything. But all I felt was emptiness. "It's too late," I finally said. "You didn't just screw up, Emily. You showed me who you really are. I can't unhear the things you said. I can't trust you." She started sobbing harder. "Jake, I don't have anyone else. My parents won't speak to me. My friends ignore my calls. I have no one. That's not my problem," I replied coldly. "You made your choices. Now you're facing the consequences." She stared at me, her face crumbling, then turned and walked out. Her sobs echoed through the quiet office. I never heard from her again. But through mutual friends, I found out she was struggling to find a place to stay. Most of her friends had cut ties, and her parents still wouldn't take her in. She'd burned every bridge. Now she was alone. It felt like karma. Months went by, and life slowly returned to normal, or as normal as it could after everything. Even though I tried to move on, Emily's shadow lingered. Not because I missed her, I didn't, but because people kept bringing her up. Turns out, she'd left her mark on a lot of people, and not in a good way. One afternoon, I was grabbing coffee with my friend Mark. "You won't believe this," he said, leaning across the table. "What now?" I laughed. Emily had become our running joke. A reminder of what not to date. "She's on the hunt," he smirked. "For what? A job?" "Nope. A new rich guy." I raised an eyebrow. "You're serious?" "Dead serious," he said. "Lisa told me she's been popping up at high-end bars and networking events, trying to meet someone with money. Apparently, she's been bragging about how she deserves a man who can take care of her." I shook my head and laughed. Some people never learn. "Yeah, well, good luck to whoever she traps next," Mark said, sipping his coffee. I didn't think much of it until a few weeks later when I got a message on social media. It was from a guy named Brandon, someone I'd never met. His profile showed him in a suit next to a luxury car. He looked like one of those flashy business guys. The message was short. "Hey Jake, I don't know you personally, but I've been seeing someone you might know, Emily. A friend of hers said I should talk to you before things go further. Can we chat?" I stared at the message for a while, debating whether to reply. Part of me wanted to leave it alone, but another part felt like this guy deserved to know. "Sure," I replied. "What do you want to know?" Brandon didn't waste time. He called that evening, and I could tell he was uneasy. "Thanks for talking," he said. "I wasn't sure I should reach out, but I've been seeing Emily for a few weeks, and something's off. She's vague about her past, and one of her friends mentioned your engagement ended over some serious stuff. I just wanted your side." I took a deep breath and laid it all out. No sugarcoating. No holding back. When I finished, there was a long pause. "Wow," Brandon said finally. "That's a lot." "Yeah," I replied. "Look, I'm not trying to sabotage anything. But if she's pretending to be someone new, you deserve to know the truth." He sighed. "No, I appreciate it. Honestly, what you said lines up. She's already talking about settling down, not wanting to work anymore. She keeps saying she needs someone stable, someone who can take care of her." I wasn't surprised. "Sounds like her," I said. Brandon thanked me for the honesty and ended the call. I figured that was it. But a few weeks later, I got another message. "You were right. I broke it off with Emily. Thanks for saving me the trouble." The final piece came when I got a call from Lisa. We hadn't spoken since the barbecue, so I was surprised to see her name. "Hey Jake," she said. "Thought you'd want to know. Emily's leaving town." I blinked. "Seriously?" "Yeah," she said. She told a former coworker she's moving to a new city to start over. Apparently, things haven't gone well for her here. I didn't ask for details. I didn't need them. Emily had burned every bridge. There was nothing left here for her. Starting fresh was probably her only option. "Thanks for the update," I said. "No problem," Lisa replied. "Figured you'd appreciate the closure. Karma had done its job. And that's the story. Looking back, I'm actually glad it all happened. It was awful at the time, but it taught me what to look for in a partner and what to avoid. I'm not in a rush to get into another relationship. But when I do, I'll be looking for someone who values me for who I am, not for what I can offer. And as for Emily, wherever she ends up, I hope she figures things out. But if she doesn't, that's not my problem anymore."